Mojtaba Khamenei was believed to be planning a massive retaliation as the war crossed the one-month mark. A top Iranian commander hinted at a new strategy, raising concerns of fresh turmoil inside Washington. Donald Trump appeared to be pushing for a peace deal even as Iran prepared what it called a final blow.
They are begging to make a deal. We'll see if we can make the right deal.
Iran warned the United States would have no choice but to retreat, projecting confidence amid intensifying conflict. Despite 86 waves of Iranian missile and drone strikes, the United States and Israel were still far from victory. A senior Iranian commander has unveiled what he calls a new phase in Tehran's strategy, vowing to ramp up pressure on the United States as the war grinds on. IRGC commander Seyyed Majid Mousavi declared that Iran's military will soon strike more high-value targets, signaling that previous attacks were only the beginning of a broader campaign. He claimed that the scale and intensity of these strikes would eventually leave the US with no choice but to pull its forces back from Iran's borders and the surrounding region. Mousavi stressed that Iran enjoys intelligence superiority and highly precise strike capabilities against American assets, suggesting that US bases and platforms can be hit with growing accuracy. According to the commander, Iranian forces have already been working to paralyze US radar coverage and disrupt key logistics networks, aiming to weaken Washington's ability to coordinate and sustain its operations. Seyyed Majid Mousavi said, and I quote, "Iran's intelligence superiority and precision strikes will leave the US with no alternative but to retreat from Iranian borders. The wreckage of AWACS, aerial refuellers, and demolished hangars speaks for itself. Iran's armed forces will soon add more high-value targets to this list." Unquote. This latest threat comes after Iran's Revolutionary Guard warned it is now prepared to target the homes of senior American and Israeli officials in direct retaliation. The armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will, in a retaliatory action, target the residences of American and Zionist regime commanders and political officials in the region and in the occupied territories. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is reportedly weighing the option of limited ground operations on Iranian soil, despite fierce debate in Washington about the risks. Iranian officials have warned that any move to send US troops deeper into the country would almost certainly trigger more American casualties on the battlefield. At the same time, Trump has hinted that discreet, behind-the-scenes talks with Tehran are making progress toward a possible deal to end the war.
We estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve our mission, and we're way ahead of schedule. If you look at what we've done in terms of the destruction of that country, I mean, we're way ahead. Think of it, they have no navy, and they had good ships. 154 ships have been shot down and are resting very nicely at the bottom of the sea. And we did that in a matter of less than a week. Because we have the greatest military in the world by far, nobody even close. So we estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve our mission. 26 days in, we're really a lot ahead of schedule. The Iranian regime is now admitting to itself that they have been decisively defeated. They're saying to people, this is a disaster. They know it. That's why they're talking to us. They wouldn't talk otherwise. But they're talking to us because they've got a disaster in their hands. They're defeated. They can't make a comeback. We're free to roam over their cities and towns and destroy all of their crazy nuclear weapons and missiles and drones that they're building. And we're doing that. They now have a chance to make a deal, but that's up to them. And they'll tell you, we're not negotiating. We will not negotiate. Of course they're negotiating. They've been obliterated. Who wouldn't negotiate? They are begging to make a deal. We'll see if we can make the right deal. And if they make the right deal, then the strait will open up. Hormuz Strait will open up. And even now, we don't know if there are any mines. You know, they have 22 they call mine droppers. Think of it, who would have 22 mine droppers? There's a boat that drops mines. Who has 22 mine droppers? Except for people with very evil intention. So every one of those mine droppers has been struck with the same weapon we used to stop drugs from coming into the United States of America. When we hit those boats, it's the exact same weapon, extremely effective. We have unlimited supplies. and extremely effective. But they have no more mine droppers.
So far, Iran's armed forces have launched 86 waves of missile and drone strikes against US and Israeli assets across the wider Middle East. Those attacks have killed and wounded personnel and caused billions of dollars in damage to bases, aircraft, and critical infrastructure across the region. In one of the most serious incidents, a US Air Force E-3 Sentry AWACS plane was hit during a March 27 strike on Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. The attack injured more than 10 American service members and damaged several aerial refueling aircraft positioned nearby on the tarmac. Military analysts say the loss or degradation of airborne radar platforms has significantly weakened US battlefield coordination and situational awareness. Iranian strikes have also hit missile defense batteries, drones and radar installations at US and allied bases scattered across the Gulf. Targets have included facilities in Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Jordan, and Kuwait, stretching defensive systems across multiple fronts. Reports indicate that US and partner forces are rapidly depleting their stocks of Tomahawk cruise missiles and interceptor rockets as the war drags on. Since the conflict began on February 28, the Pentagon has confirmed that 13 US troops have been killed and more than 200 have been wounded in action.